On this episode of the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino, Walter Rouse joins us to talk about his time at OU and his future with the Minnesota Vikings. We talk about the Thunder losing to the Dallas Mavericks and FGTB, and we cover the PGA Championship, OU softball, and some more NBA playoffs and winners and losers of the weekend. Please download and subscribe to the podcast, rate it 5 stars, and write us a good review. Follow the show on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Just search Oklahoma Breakdown on any of those, and you'll find us. All right, our man Michael Hosty will kick this thing off. It's time for the Oklahoma Breakdown. It's a beautiful Sunday, May 19th, and you're listening to the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino. Riverwind is Oklahoma City's premier casino experience, and there's so many reasons why Riverwind is consistently voted OKC's #1 casino, but it all starts with their amazing variety of gaming thrills and excitement. Riverwind's beautiful award-winning environment plays host to more than 2,800 of the latest electronic games with a huge selection of table games, including blackjack, match roulette, and Teddy's favorite, craps. No matter what your game, Riverwind has it in spades and hearts. And to learn more about their gaming promotions and entertainment options in the month of May, all you got to do is visit riverwind.com. Riverwind Casino, simply the best. Ted Lehman, how we doing?
Fantastic.
Fun sports weekend. Also a sad sports weekend.
Yeah, I didn't know how to respond to that. I mean, it was and it wasn't. You win some, you lose some.
Well, we'll get to my sadness and sorrow in football, guys talking basketball. But as always, we always start with OU football. And right now is the quietest time in the calendar year for OU football. So what do? We go and get a guy that just graduated, is about to go play in the NFL, and Walter Rouse to talk about OU football. That's what we do, Ted.
Awesome. Yeah, and he's the right guy, and he is a fun interview, man.
Let's get right to it. Here's Walter Rouse. It is our pleasure to be joined by a former Sooner. Now, he's old, ladies and gentlemen. He's gone because he's in the National Football League. Your newest Minnesota Viking. Ink is dry on the contract, Walter Rouse. What's up, man?
Hey, how you guys doing? Thank you for having me here. It's I'm so thankful. I can't wait to talk to you guys.
It's like the best of both worlds being in Minnesota. It's miserable cold, but you get to play inside, man. That's how you want it, right?
I've heard the winters can get pretty bad, but the stadium is beautiful. I've only seen it from above, but I can't wait to go out there and actually visit the stadium. It's truly magnificent. It's awesome.
Let's start. Clearly want to talk to you about your time at OU, but let's start with the NFL stuff. Okay. I know maybe it took a little longer than you wanted it to during the draft, but you got the call from the Vikings that they were selecting you in the 6th round. Just what was that moment like for you, Walter?
So really, at the time, I was we had a watch party going in the basement, the place where I was at, and I was actually upstairs talking to people. And I had my phone with me, of course, and then this number pops up. No one called me all day. It says spam risk, and I'm like, this can only mean one thing. I mean, this is the one time I'm not gonna ignore a spam risk call. So I pick it up. I'm heading downstairs, get in front of the TV where everyone else is, and the Vikings is crazy. General manager with the Minnesota Vikings, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, the Minnesota Vikings, like they're picking me because I really haven't talked with them. I think I only spoke with them once during the Shrine Bowl and really didn't have any communication with them after that. So they're talking with me and they're like, what kind of, are you a Stanford man? Are you an Oklahoma man? And I was like, I'm the best of both worlds. I got the best of each school. And really just in that moment, having all my family around me, it was just truly, it was so surreal and amazing. And I can't even put it into words sometimes. It's just thinking about that moment and that feeling that I had. I was just all that hard work that I had put in for myself to get to that moment. And even just all the hard work that my mom, my grandma, my grandmothers, my cousins, all my family friends, everyone who was there, all the hard work they put in sacrifice and what they put into me was just really just fulfilling. And I just, when I heard my name called on TV, I was just, it was insane. It was a great moment just to be surrounded by my loved ones. And even though, I think I could have gone earlier, I just need an opportunity, and I've been given the opportunity, and I'm just making the most of it.
So the transition's crazy though, right? You go from a season and then don't even have a chance to catch your breath before you go right into draft preparation. You know, you're playing football, then you're doing combine and pro day stuff, you're doing interviews, and then the big day comes, you get drafted. So that stress is gone, but all you've done is replace that with the new stress of go and be surrounded by a bunch of people you don't know, learn a new system. So how has that part of it been?
It's been great. You know, get a little bit learning curve, like just learning the playbook and whatnot, and you know, doing some rookie duties that we have, and you know, learning about the O-line room fines and how many fines there are. So it's been, you know, I think I'm already up to like $50 in fines right now. So I'm learning about that, but just really just taking it all in, and you know, we got a couple other guys who are rookies in the O-line room as well. So being able to talk with them, and you know, we're just navigating it together. But the transition has been great. The staff at the Vikings and the coaches have been awesome, and just helping us, you know, ease our transition. And like with the facilities being like right there, literally across from the hotel, has been awesome as well. I don't need a car or anything, and I can go to the facility really anytime I want if I want to get some extra treatment in or stonework and whatnot. So the transition has been great, but it's really just, you know, the downtime is like, I think I had like about a week after the draft, and it's just, you know, from January to now, basically been going nonstop. And from now until, you know, the end of the season, it's still going to be going nonstop. So really now just preparing for the season. We moved from really, you know, 12 games in college, and now it's 17 games plus the playoffs, and you know, could go till February. So it's a lot longer, and just really just gearing up for that as well.
I know you're a smart guy. That's well documented at this point. What was your initial reaction when you got your hands on the Vikings playbook?
So when they first gave me the iPad, and I started looking through the plays, and I was like, okay, I recognize some of these things from when I was at Stanford, some things from when I was at OU, and then really I started getting a little bit deeper and deeper, and I was like, okay, you know what? Let me not like try and go ahead. Let me just take a step back, because you know the way our line coach has been helping us and whatnot has been great. Has really been tapering it off in terms of like, okay, we're going to cover this and we're going to cover this, and you know, we're just going to move on gradually. But like, you know, we're going to be when we're in meetings with the vets as well, and they're going through, you know, different plays, and I'm just sitting there like, okay, I'm sitting back I'm trying to understand what's going on and whatnot. I get a little bit of it. I want to ask questions, but this is for the vets right now. So the playbook, it's a lot, and it's like a lot of different variations and tags and things like that. But I don't think it's not too bad, especially the way they have us learning it. So you know, it's not without its challenges. Definitely have to study it and work hard at it. But you know, if you really commit yourself, and you know, we even had a little study session this morning, and it's not going to be too bad. But we're starting OTAs tomorrow, and you know, those team periods, and I have the potential to get in, have to make the most of that moment. So I gotta know every little thing.
Where they got you working right now? I know there was talk that you could possibly play both tackle and guard. Are you left? Are you right? What do you been working at so far?
So I you know, when I was in the draft process, and you know, when different teams were telling me, "Oh, we see you at guard and you know, or a tackle," I started, you know, working out at guard, and when I was training. But being here at Minnesota, I've been doing right or left tackle. I definitely still want to be able to, if they need me to, you know, get into that guard position. But they really have me working at the right tackle or left tackle spot. So aiming for being that swing tackle right now. But you know, we have like 3 or 4 guys, 3 guys that are working at guard who are rookies, and a couple guys at tackle. So right now it's just been right or left tackle.
So I'm just going back and thinking about that initial shock of like getting into an NFL locker room, Ted. And Walter, are there any familiar faces for you in the Minnesota Vikings locker room? Like, do you know anyone already? Because I was fortunate enough to walk into a situation where I actually knew a couple of guys already, and that made it a little easier to kind of just feel comfortable.
Right.
Did you happen to know anyone on the roster already?
Sort of. So Harrison Phillips, who he went to Stanford. We never played together, but I knew him a little bit through Stanford. So he was kind of the familiar face, the guy I knew. And really, I'm trying to think, except for him, that was pretty much it. So I'm really just going in there. I'm just seeing like, wow, it's like just seeing my name in the locker next to, I'm next to like Christian Darrisaw and the right tackle Brian O'Neill. So I'm just like, man, like this is the real deal. Got number 78, Walter Rouse up there. This is very cool. Then I remember walking up the facility and it even hit me. And then I was like, hey, what's your name? He said, my name's Sam. And I was like, oh, my name is Walter. And I was like, oh, that was Sam Darnold. Oh, I was like, I mean, that's pretty cool. I mean, and I'm like, it just you hit like I'm in the NFL now. You got guys like that walking around. I remember meeting Aaron Jones, and he just introduced himself to me, and I was like, oh, that's Aaron Jones from the Packers, the Minnesota Vikings. Now it's so cool. It's really cool. And I'm just thinking about all that, and when I met CD for the first time, it's just. Yeah, going in, didn't really know anybody. I did know Mike Juergens a little bit. Worked out with the same guy back in Maryland. But aside from that, really just going in, just meeting everyone for the first time and not really knowing anybody. But like I said, staff and coaches, they've been great and just really excited. They really welcomed me.
How about with your draft class? Usually, whenever there's a bunch of guys that don't know anybody, you guys kind of pull together there. And there's some big names in that draft class. You guys had a really nice draft.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we've had, Tyler Guyton going in the first round, and I think this was one of the heavier tackle drafts and O-line drafts in recent memory, especially with the amount of guys that went in the first round. But yeah, especially, getting in with the combine and meeting up with those guys as well, and some of the guys that I trained with down in Florida, really just, coming together and talking to one another and, really just now, meeting guys like Jackson Power Johnson out in Oregon and just guys in Utah and around the country. And it's really just been awesome, like, okay, now he's here, he's there, and everyone's doing well so far. So it's good to see that.
So there's always a certain pressure that comes with the quarterback that gets drafted in the first round. What has JJ McCarthy been like? Have you spent a lot of time with him? I know that rookie class, man, they tend to stick together for a long time until you start seeing guys go other places. So what's McCarthy been like?
He's really been just a chill, relaxed guy. Really just awesome, just outgoing, introducing himself. I remember he FaceTimed me, after I got drafted, just really excited about, getting up to Minnesota and start working, and getting better. And he's friendly. He's just, awesome guy. I already consider a pretty good friend and just a really great all-around dude. And he's just very excited. Can't wait, learning the playbook and getting out there and not letting, at least not showing it, not letting any stress or anything get to him. And he's just, just very friendly with everyone else. So yes, JJ is a really great guy. I've gotten to know him a little bit, and I'm very excited to see what he has to offer and what he's going to be able to do for the Minnesota Vikings. But yeah, all around, he's an awesome guy.
I know the first thing you do typically is start sizing up who you're going to have to be blocking in OTAs and in training camp and all that stuff. What's the D-line and edge guys looking like?
They're looking pretty good. I know, we know that our prime, the edge rusher, Daniil Hunter, he left, and I was like, okay, I'm both happy and sad. Like, okay, I don't have to go up against him, but also, he's a good guy to go up against. I know in time he'll make me better. But just looking at the D linemen, and when we're out there for last week, and when I first got there, I'm like, okay, all right, so I got him. Okay, I know that's Harrison Phillips. All right. Learning at different edge rushers and whatnot, and the D tackles I might have to get a doom with, or hit it with a B or whatnot. So it's I'm both very excited, some nervousness, but I know they're going to make me better, and I may not win every rep, but I know just as long as I keep coming back after that rep, I'll just keep getting better. But yeah, I've definitely, if not haven't been seeing anybody, I'm just like, okay, keeping an eye out, seeing how they're working and whatnot. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna have some battles. I know that for sure.
It's kind of an easy transition to your time at OU. How prepared do you feel already? Now, clearly, you get to the NFL, you got to get better. You got to get better every single day. That's got to be the mentality. But how prepared do you feel with your time at OU for the NFL?
I feel very prepared. I mean, in the 1 year I was there, I feel like the amount of how much better I got, the amount of knowledge I amassed was just truly significant in that time there. I mean, from the very first day, and I've told all the scouts and coaches who have asked me this, but from the very first day I got there in January, I mean, Coach Beatonbow, we were doing like tests, quizzes, and assessments, and I'm like, holy snap! Like, we're starting this right now, and really just getting immersed into like the Oklahoma playbook and whatnot. But he really, one of the things with Coach Beatonbow I really appreciate is like the amount of detail that he paid attention to and how much of that meant to him, and also about perfection. And like, no one's perfect, but on your way to perfection, you're going to be pretty great, and achieving that greatness. And that's what he kept from January all the way through the season. And Venables only just built upon that. And so even with me being hurt, finding different other things to do to instead of doing mat drills or spring ball, just doing the footwork on the side, and really just building upon that. And, especially when we got to training camp in the season, going against guys, like especially Ethan Downs, we probably had the best battles me and him going against each other. He definitely made me better, and I made him better. Sometimes I didn't like him at all, but I knew he was always there. He's this guy. Ethan's guy just goes nonstop all the time. I really appreciate it about him. And just, with the type of practices that we were doing, I mean, I was like, we're going off the bat. I mean, Coach Venables' first period, we're doing goal line. I'm like, oh snap, okay. Let's go. This is awesome. And just how intense practices were, especially with training camp. Even at the same time, he was also taking care of us, making sure our bodies are right, talking with the nutritionists, the recovery specialists, and athletic trainers. But overall, like, Oklahoma prepared me. I feel like they prepared me very well, especially how I think the best part I excelled in the most or got better in the most was how I see the defense and how I understand football as a whole, because I really felt my knowledge, especially when I got to Oklahoma, was like, oh snap, like, I'm here, I need to get here. And in my time in Oklahoma, I got there. I mean, there were times where Coach Beatonbow, asked me questions or whatnot, and he's like, you don't know this? And I'm like, nah, I don't know. I didn't know that. And like, and asking these questions I'm asking, I'm thinking it's better to ask now than, ask him second quarter in a game versus West Virginia or something like that. So just really just getting those answers in and really understanding how the game is played, and how we study the film, and what he had us doing. I mean, he had us breaking down different situations. I had short yards and goal line. Other guys had third and long, red zone, tight zone. And we did that for each team that we played against. We'd come in on Sunday, do it on Monday, and we'd come in with a report. Like, doing that each and every week, it took me from breaking down, it took me 3 hours to break down the film to maybe only an hour, because of how well I see the game, how much I understood what I was looking at. And that really helped me, especially going into the season. I mean, going into the draft process, and now studying film on NFL guys now.
Well, we wish we had you longer at Oklahoma. It feels like it was all started and over so quick. So when you look back, do you have any favorite moments? I know it was a big deal to go play in that bowl game, and wish that would have turned out differently. But what were some of your favorite moments throughout the season?
Yeah, going to the bowl game was definitely one of my favorite moments, because never been to a bowl game before. It's my first time having that experience in the bowl game itself, and that was truly amazing. But I gotta say, and you guys probably could guess this, like, my all-time favorite moment would be the Texas game. And just the game itself, even just the game itself, and no slight, no shade to them. I thought, at the time, Stanford and Cal, like, I thought that was, okay, this is a rivalry right here. This is, bad blood. And then, you enter the stadium and you see just the burnt orange, and you got Oklahoma fans, and it's just split down the middle, red and orange. And it's like, oh, wow, now this is a rivalry. One side is just cursing you out, saying all types of things. The other side is cheering you on. And just from the moment the game started till the end, it was just nonstop high octane. It was just awesome. And then, of course, a minute 17 left, driving 75 yards down the field to get a touchdown. We're on like the 12-yard line. They got to get a double block in there. Help DG jumps up. Everyone just working in unison. Nick Anderson gets the touchdown. That probably is like one of my all-time favorite moments. I think when I was at Stanford, beating Oregon when they were number 3 in the country, that was like my number one. now that's number two, and that Texas game is just my all-time favorite moment in college football. The amount of elation and just excitement that I felt in that moment really, like, sometimes I wish I could just go back and just experience that, because I was on like I was like high on life for like the whole week, especially because we were going into a bye week. So I was just like, man, we beat Texas, like, and I only went to Oklahoma for 1 year. I'm not supposed to like dislike Texas like that, but Smitty had us doing med ball sit-ups 49 reps every single day in the summer. And I hated that. Someone would mess up, restart. So like, someone's not doing it properly, restart. 49, 49, 49. And just, I'm like, I developed some animosity towards Texas. And I'm like, I've only really been around with them for 1 year. So that game was definitely the number one moment for me at OU and probably all time in college. But other moments, I have to say, I didn't get to play, but the spring game, that was awesome. I've never been a part of the spring game with 80,000 people. That was just so cool. Like, and really the first time I really saw the Oklahoma fandom and, how much they were passionate about us and, how much they cared for us. And that was really cool to see. And especially that atmosphere. Also, I love doing the football camps with the kids. That's one of the things I love. Just if I can just, helping kids out, just period, is awesome. And being able to coach them and teach them the game of football, whether they're, in elementary school or in high school trying to get to college. I truly had a fun time doing that. And even keeping in contact with some of the kids to this day, and if they need any questions or help, just come to me and I do my best to give those answers to them. And it was just, and also the internships. I had a blast doing there was the ESO fund, like trading up in San Francisco. I don't have any interest in that, but I was like, you know what? Might as well, get some connections and know some people out there. Still talk to them to this day. Great people. Had a awesome time out there with Jackson and DJ, and then doing the medical internship at OU Health. Saw some surgeries. I met the president of the university. I mean, of the whole entire campus for the hospital. It was truly awesome and truly amazing. And just, I was able to, just the connections I made with people that I still have today are going to help me when I want to, whenever I'm done with football, I want to come back later in life and, restart that, do that career that I want to, branch off into. So there was a lot of different things that I loved at OU. Those were specifically just some of my favorites.
I know you were on the offensive side of the ball, and Venables is heavily focused on the defensive side. But since you got to spend the time with Coach Venables that you did, what was kind of your main takeaway of the type of leader he is for OU?
To the two main reasons I came to OU was Coach Beatonbow, of course, and then the second one was Coach Venables. I really bought into what he was saying, through all our times on FaceTime, even when, I went to when I went on my official visit, and he really backed up everything he was saying when I got there, because it wasn't just about football for him. He always says the number one thing I want you to do is graduate. And with the Soul Mission, program that he had started, and everything they were doing with that, with player development, helping us financial, any stuff outside of football. Like, it wasn't just that, he was this great head coach. He was, yelling in your face, wants you to get better. Like, everyone's like that. There are a lot of head coaches that are like that. But the way he treated us, like we were part of his own family, like we were his sons too, and how much he cared for that. And like, if we were to mess up, like that passion because of how much he cared for us, like that is something that I truly saw in him that I hadn't really seen or I'd seen anywhere else. And then he was like that. He was consistent from the moment I got there at OU to when I left. He didn't change up at all. Like that was him in January, and that was him in February, August, October, November, December. And he's also, I thought, a lot of people might think like, I can't really go talk to Coach Venables and whatnot. I thought I could, there are times where I could go speak to him about anything, and he would always be there for me. And even when he had things going on in his own family, personally, he always put those aside to, take care of us and to make sure we were doing all right, whether it was on the football field and off the field. And, I love a coach who can get energized and who can just get in your face and pumps me up. And Venables, he could do that every single time. And I just loved it. And every time, we were in training camp, we're going out before halftime, before the game itself, I just loved his speeches. Maybe could cut back a little bit on, the after practice talks. That's
So
the one
long,
thing he can cut
just
back.
so ridiculously long.
I sometimes I don't think he realizes that he might say something and then circle back to that same thing, but say it a different way. I mean, even and also the team meetings, like he'll come in with the hourglass and it'll have, like how much to say, how much time is left. I'm gonna flip it on again and to restart it. And I'm just like, Coach. And some people like, hey, Coach. But I love Coach Venables regardless. But that might be the one thing, like, you don't have to talk, sit, me down for 45 minutes. Let me cut it to 20. That's nice, 20 minutes. But aside from that, no, I love Coach Venables.
That's good stuff. Well, they're gearing up for a big year right now. Obviously, they're heading into the SEC. What's your thoughts about the team? I know there's a bunch of guys now that have arrived that maybe you aren't as familiar with, but maybe some guys on the offensive line. You got to play for Jackson Arnold in his first start. What do you think about him moving forward?
Oh, I have no worries about Jackson. He's going to be a great quarterback moving forward. Already is a great leader. Saw some of that during the season. And I know it wasn't the best game he had, especially his first start going in at the Alamo Bowl. But I have all the confidence in the world in him, and just the way that he carries himself, even after the game, and taking that accountability. Very mature for his age. I can't wait to see what he does in the SEC and moving forward in the coming years. And then with the O-line, very excited about that, especially the freshman that we get, like Eddie Pierre, him coming in, his size and strength, and all the other people that we have as well. Can't wait to see what Jacob Sexton does, and Jake Taylor. Really excited about those guys. I mean, I know Coach Beatonbow, he's gonna have them ready to go. A lot of people, we were kind of like a bunch of misfits put together, bring guys in the transfer portal last year, and we had some different combinations, and Coach Beatonbow got us ready to go. I believe he's going to do the same, especially going to SEC, which is it's going to be another higher level competition. And I know a lot of people think, going from Big 12 to SEC, Oklahoma's going to do terrible and whatnot, but they don't know. They haven't been, behind the curtain like I have, or you guys on the sideline and in the locker rooms and whatnot. So I have all the confidence in the world, going into the SEC, and I just feel like we're going to each year just going to keep building upon that. And then with the defensive line, the pickup we got from TCU, Dominic Williams, I think his name is, like, that's a huge pickup because I went against him last year, and that's a big dude to move. That's a great pickup for us. I'm very excited about that. He's like 315, 6'2". The best way I can describe him, and this in the best way possible. It's like a tree stump. You can't move. Like you just can't move it. That's who he is. Like, it's a tree stump. It's just slowly moving forward, and he has surprising, quick for his size, good speed. So, and how I'm going to get up against him and other pickups that we've had, I'm very excited to see what our D-line is going to be about. And I have no doubt that, he's going to mesh well with Coach Bates and, Venables' defense. So, yeah, and we got Billy Bowman coming back, who, got robbed last year for the what was the award?
The Thor.
He got robbed for the Thor. Should have won that. But, hey, we'll get it. Let's aim for it this year. But, yeah, I'm very excited about the team as a whole. And as I said, Beanbo's going to get him ready. I know Coach Venables is going to get him ready. Training camp right around the corner.
I'm interested in your experience in the transfer portal, because you were, I would say you were hot in those streets, man. A lot of people wanted you to tackle. You know how it is. Tackle's a premium position. You had the situation where I believe, didn't you commit to Nebraska and then you chose OU instead? I'm sure Nebraska fans love you for that. What was that process like? You hear all these things about portal and the NIL piece. What was that process like for you? Like, what's true and what's not?
So it actually, I remember the day I entered my name in the portal, and I was like, I'm gonna put my phone away and I'll just check it tomorrow. And I checked it tomorrow, and I was like, wow, that's a lot of messages and whatnot. And the most I've had since I was getting recruited and out of high school. And actually, I kind of liken it to that, but I could better navigate it since I've been through it once already. And then it's just all about, you can't just take on everyone all at once. You got to see like, okay, who really needs a tackle? Who really is going to commit to, you being there, wanting you to come, and just, weeding those colleges and whatnot out. And once I got to that point, then there was also that NIL aspect, which I didn't know would be, especially I think that was like the first year that people were really, getting NIL deals and whatnot. And I remember just colleges, like first conversation, like, hey, we can give you this much and whatnot. I'm like, huh? What? To me, this is my first time here. Like, I remember, Stanford. I remember at Stanford when they were first getting their collective together and whatnot, and they were, yeah, we can give you this much and this much, and then I was like, yeah, I like that. And then I'm talking to Auburn, they're like, yeah, bam, like over 100. What? That's crazy. And I don't think it was. It wasn't like, I would say the NIL wasn't the deciding factor for me because there were, schools that offered more than both Nebraska and Oklahoma did. And if I did it for that, then I would have gone to those different schools. I truly picked, Oklahoma because of because of Coach Beatonbow and their standard of excellency and, what they've done in the past and, the guys they have in the NFL. But overall, for me, I don't think the portal was too bad. I had different, in terms of the agencies that wanted to represent me in the NFL, they were like, offering to help, for NIL deals and whatnot. They're like, hey, I talked to this school, they can get you this, they can get you that. So trying to like say, hey, I'm cool here. Don't really need to do that, but I appreciate it. And just trying to limit the amount of communication and the amount of notifications that I'm getting in messages as possible because it's just a lot. You might miss some things. When it got down to like the official visits and whatnot, actually, things happened kind of fast because I guess I entered my name kind of late. Auburn was like, we'll get you on a plane tomorrow, and I was like, oh wow! Before the first dead period, I was like, okay, let's go. So did that. And then I was able to get in Oklahoma, Iowa to Nebraska for my last 3 official before like the next dead period. And then I had to, making the decision and whatnot. And really, I guess the toughest part for the transfer portal for me was that decision and what came after the decision to make the other decision. I really had an amazing time. I had an amazing time in Oklahoma. And I really had an amazing time in Nebraska. And Nebraska, they really surprised me with this, just my perception of Nebraska. And then when I got there, just in terms of seeing the downtown Lincoln and whatnot, I was like, wow, this hotels all over the place, there's city lights. And this is awesome, and I did think there was going to be a lot more, cornfields and things like that. So I did have that perception. But when I saw it and, great coaching staff, great facilities, and I truly had an amazing time there and, going, hanging out with the players and whatnot. I was like, wow, this guy, I think this place could be for me. I really do like, Coach Raiola, what he's talking about and things like that. And so, when I got back on Monday, I just couldn't get Nebraska out of my head. I was like, I think this is the right place, And, I had my mom was like, making sure you make the right decision, just think it over, just really. And I think it was on that Wednesday or either Wednesday or Tuesday night where I called, Coach Rule and I told him I'm going to commit. And I remember we went to go celebrate, went to this Korean barbecue spot. And after I, posted it, posted my commitment picture, video, whatever, I was going to Nebraska. I just got this feeling and I was like, okay, it's going to go away. The grass is greener on the other side. And like the next day I woke up still feeling that way. I literally just spent the day just talking things over, praying about it, just, thinking to myself and like, did I make the right decision? Cause I had as good times as I had in Nebraska, I had a probably equally greatest time at, Oklahoma. I remember when I was there, I was talking to Coach Phil and and my mom was in the back of the car. I was mouthing the words. I was like, I'm going to commit like right now. Like, let's commit on the spot. And we still had Iowa and Nebraska to visit. But the more I was it just really conflicted with myself. And, I think it was on that Saturday, I was, heading to Nebraska, and I was like, if I get on that plane, then there's no turning back. And is this the decision do I really want for myself? And the more I thought about it, I was like, Oklahoma is the place for me. That's the place where I should be at. And I made the decision. I called Nebraska and I told them that I'm gonna. You're not gonna believe it, but I'm not coming to Nebraska. I'm gonna go to Oklahoma instead. And I hated making that call. I hated that I would see people who flipped. And I'm like, why would they do that? Decommitment, and then they commit to school 2 days later. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And then I end up being in that exact same position. Now I'm just like, wow. And especially the way I did it, I just alienated a whole really a whole state against me. Against my person. I'm like, yeah, this is great. Because there's no NFL professional team basketball. I'm like, Nebraska, and they were so passionate when I committed. They're like, yeah, you're gonna bring Nebraska back to the glory days and what I decommit. And you see some some comments and whatnot. You're like, yeah, I knew it could get that bad, but I didn't know it could get that bad. I just said this. People are very creative with what they want to say to you when they're very passionate about something. But in my heart, I knew that was the right decision to make, as much as I didn't want to make the decision. Especially, I knew how coaching staff would feel and those fans would feel, but I had to do what was best for me and my family. And looking back, the way I would go about the decision, I would change it, but I would choose Oklahoma 10 out of 10 times again. And I didn't look back. I was so thankful to be at Oklahoma and Coach Venables to give me that opportunity. And yeah, they truly did amazing things for me. And, I'm sitting here speaking with you guys right across from the Viking facility. And, I came to Oklahoma because I felt like I needed to get better. And I felt like I did that. And not only that, I felt like I made I gained a new family, because the way the Oklahoma fans accepted me and welcomed me in, truly felt amazing and special. But yeah, that's how the process went, and how I got to eventually ended up in Oklahoma.
This is the last one I got for you, Walter. EA Sports NCAA Football. The last year the game was made was my senior year. It's been a while. So yeah. I was on the last time that game was put out. I am on it. They are bringing it back the year after you are gone. Do you feel personally attacked by that?
I guess I wouldn't say personally attacked, but when I heard the announcement, I was thinking, okay, wait, I'm gonna get in right before the game, right before I have to leave, and then the more I hear, I'm like, damn, like I wanted to be in the game, I 10 years, and you couldn't come up with maybe a year earlier, 2 years earlier. You just had to wait that long. I don't, I'm happy that the game is back and whatnot. I can't wait to get it, but I would love to, I would love to be like, I'm Walter Rouse. I'm in the game. I'm in the NFL though, so that's not bad.
Yeah, you'll be on Madden. You'll be on Madden.
I'll be on Madden. Yeah,
good.
Exactly.
Walter, you're the man. Hey, I think you made the right decision picking OU, man.
Yeah.
All the best. Have fun in OTAs. You're gonna kill
Yes,
it. We're this entire fan base. We're all behind you, man. We appreciate the time.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you guys for having me on.
After that guy has a long NFL career, I know he wants to be a doctor. We got to get into media, man. He would be so good.
I know it. Great personality. Smart. He's funny. I personally think I'm with you. I think he's going to be a great pro. He's big enough. He's physical, can handle the mental part of it. I was shocked he got drafted as late as he did. I thought he was going to be quite a bit earlier than that, but I think catching at the right time there at Minnesota may have some staying power.
I hope so, because even though we was only at OU for one season, I really like that guy. I mean, he's impossible not to root for.
I know it. I totally agree.
You mentioned it. I wish we would have had him for longer.
I know.
You give Bedenbaugh 3 or 4 years with that guy, he would have been a just a trained killer. But
I know.
I expect him to have a long, successful NFL career. He's huge and athletic and super smart. Not a ton of human beings that size that you can say that about.
How many 6'6", 315, 320 pounders can do all the things he can do? Not very many.
Yeah, those people do not grow on trees. All right, we got to talk about it. Mavs ended the Thunder season. But first, Love's Travel Stops is now offering a nationwide 10-cent per gallon discount on gas and auto diesel. Just download the Love's Connect app and scan your barcode at the prompt on screen and watch that price drop 10 cents per gallon. Across the country, the Love's Connect app unlocks exclusive deals, can help any traveler plan their route or meal on the highway. So before you hit the road, be sure to download the Love's Connect app to save 10 cents per gallon and experience the country's best highway hospitality at Love's Travel Stops. Love's also has you covered if you forget your phone charger or headphones with their expanded mobile to-go zone. And of course, don't forget to grab yourself some of that delicious Java Amore.
And celebrate with a Schooner All-American Ale, the official craft beer of OU Athletics from Coop Ale Works, named after the iconic Sooner schooner that races across Owen Field after an OU score. You can join in on the celebration with an ice-cold beer from Coop Ale Works. You can enjoy it at the Palace on the Prairie, at OU athletic events, at the bar, at the tailgate, and in the comfort of your own home. For more information on Schooner All-American Ale, visit SchoonerAle.com. Must be 21 to purchase. Please drink responsibly. Schooner All-American Ale, the taste of game day.
And we love Simple Modern. Simple Modern is an Oklahoma-owned drinkware company who has so many gifts that are perfect for this month. Mother's Day's already passed, but teacher appreciation gifts, Simple Modern cups, perfect. Graduation gifts, Simple Modern's got you covered there. They've got all that popular drinkware, which is why they're number one in sales when it comes to Target and Amazon. They also have the getaway bags and Harper totes, which are perfect for summer trips. Simple Modern has you covered for all of your gift-giving needs this busy time of year. And they also exist to give generously, donating 10% of all profits, so you can know you're helping better Oklahoma and beyond with every purchase. Check it all out at simplemodern.com today. Football Guys Talkin Basketball. Thunder lose Game 6 in Dallas. Had a 17-point lead in the third quarter. Had a 9-point lead in the fourth quarter. And the season ends in a just horrible fashion. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I mean, it was such a great game.
Yep.
And I think from my understanding, the interpretation of the rule, it was the right call, which almost somehow makes it worse.
Right. Yeah.
That you know what I mean? But Shai had been so good in that game. 36 points was just amazing. It's just a damn shame that that's how that game got decided. And I think it was the right call. It was extremely unfortunate. And credit to PJ Washington for hitting those 2 free throws. But gross. That was an awesome game. And I think we all hated that it ended at the free throw line.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. The Thunder looked good for the duration, but I mean, you knew that there was a spring coiled up and Dallas was going to make a big run at it late. And here they come, couple of big threes, right back in things before you can even blink. And it just came down to that. That's the brutal part of it, is because of the clock and because of like how maybe the call could go either way, it just put everyone in a bad position. Like, what do you do? With that timeout.
He had to challenge it, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, he did get all ball initially, and you're trying to prevent him from going to the free throw line for 3 free throws. But could you make the argument, hey, you don't challenge it, and that way you've got the timeouts where you can advance the ball and you get Shai one last shot? I don't know. That's a really, I feel like that's really nitpicky. I mean, is he really supposed to not challenge it in that situation? I mean, it's easy to say that sitting on your couch, but
That's the reason it's so difficult, is because there's really not a right answer unless you win the challenge. Like, that's the only correct answer. And I guess if you don't and you hit the three, with the time, with being able to advance the ball. But it was just a brutal. You don't have like 15 minutes to sit around and talk about what's the best thing to do. It has to happen like that. And there really was no right answer. So you hated to see it in like that, but yeah, it was frustrating.
and of course it was PJ Washington.
Yep.
By the way, how strong is that guy's grip that the ball didn't move at all?
I know.
I mean, how tight is he holding that basketball when he's going up to release it? My goodness.
And I know we watch it in like super slow mo, and you just forget how fast it happens in real time, because it's like, why didn't Shea just keep his hand on top of the ball, and just cup it and hang on to it and try and get possession? But it all just happened so fast. But I do think it was the right call.
I agree.
As little as I know, that doesn't mean anything to anyone. I understand that, but kind of where I sat on it.
This is the part where we have to give the Dallas Mavericks a lot of credit. Especially, first of all, we're talking about game 6 because that's the game that ends the Thunder season. Game 5 is really where, I mean, Dallas came into Oklahoma City and pushed the Thunder around. Kind of stuffed them in a locker in game 5. That's how it felt. And Luka Doncic was fantastic in that game.
Well, really, game 2 and game 5, like
right,
twice on your own floor, they came out and put it to you where that's not supposed to be able to happen.
Right, and then you look at game 6, the Thunder finally shoot the three decently. Or they 15 of 41, not great, but solid. Shea was really good. J-Dub finally looked like himself with 22, 9, and 8. I thought the Thunder took decent care of the basketball. They won the turnover battle by 8. Other things, PJ Washington, he finally played like PJ Washington, even though was huge in the fourth quarter for him, but only 9 points. You factor all that in, Mavs still win. And this hurts, but it's just the truth. The Mavs are just a better team. You could say the Thunder shot poorly. You could say, listen, they went into Oklahoma City and beat them twice. And what are you going to say other than the Mavs are the better basketball team? That's all you can say.
Yeah, and I actually believe that this is a good thing. So I'm not like, this is not like a doom and gloom outlook, but they're not going anywhere either.
No.
And this is going to turn into the last run the Thunder had, it was, the San Antonio Spurs, Memphis, some of those heated series. Like, I think this is going to turn into a really, really intense rivalry.
If Twitter is any indication, the back and forth between the fan bases, this is going to be really fun for like the next 3 to 5 years.
Can the Sooner fan base withstand it? Can we stay together through?
Well, football unites us.
Right.
When it's time to be united, we'll be united. But yeah, OU fans just going at each other during this series. It was actually pretty interesting. I had all these people talking noise to me in my mentions. In every single one of their bios, it says like Boomer Sooner, and they followed me. I was like, why are these people? Oh yeah, they probably live in Dallas. It is, which made it kind of fun. But looking at the series as a whole, Mavs role guys just outplayed the Thunder's role guys.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, like, there's nothing, but like roster wise, is there anything that you feel like it is just an absolute must that they need to address?
They need to get a power forward that's got some strength, can do some of the dirty work on the glass, but can also shoot threes. I saw multiple people suggest they should draft Zach Edey. I will faint if that happens. That is, I just don't think he can play the way that they want to play offensively. That would shock me. I mean, completely shock me. But yeah, I don't really know. I'm not dialed into the draft class enough. Is that something they can address in the draft? Is it something that they can address more likely in free agency? Or are they going to have to make a trade?
I also think that you got to remember that how old is Chet now?
What, 21?
21. He's going to grow into that, like, to some degree. Now, he's not going to turn into like Anthony Mason out there or anything, but he's gonna continue to put size on and become more physical and be more acclimated to the playoff type of tempo and everything. So, but I am with you. I mean, that does feel like it's I wouldn't even say like it's glaring. Just a handful of small things happen differently in that series. And, we're talking about this team's built for a championship. So, like, the margins are very, very thin.
There are some thin margins in that game 6.
Yeah.
I mean, some key moments late in that fourth quarter. It's like 7.5 minutes to go. Luka misses that floater. Lively, who was excellent for Dallas throughout the series and may have been the biggest difference maker in game 6. His energy, his effort. I mean, they absolutely destroyed the Thunder on the boards. And Derek Lively was a big reason why. And it's hard not to root for that guy with what he's gone through over the last couple months, losing his mom. So
that is the point, though. Like, the role players, Dallas's role players outplayed Oklahoma City's role players.
Oh, no doubt. PJ Washington was massive. Derek Jones Jr., 22 points in the closeout game, including, and this was it was one of those shots where you're like, maybe it's just not meant to be for the Thunder, where Jalen Williams blocks Luka, ball goes to Derek Jones Jr. He blocks it. Derek Jones Jr. gets it, kicks it to Kyrie. He shoots this pull-up three, nothing but net. Shot clock expiring. Or it wasn't nothing but net. It hit the back iron and then it dropped it.
Yeah, it danced.
Yeah, it just boop. It was like perfect bounce. You're like, wow, really? And
like,
then
where I was watching it, I couldn't hear the game. And when it bounced up and everyone just kind of stood under it, I was like, oh, maybe he didn't get it off or there was a whistle. I thought everyone just quit on the play when it was dancing on the rim.
There's like 1minute and 11 seconds left. J-Dub blocks Kyrie from the corner. It goes to Derek Jones Jr. He shoots a falling down fadeaway over Chet and makes it as the shot clock expires. And you're just like, really? Now, Shea went right down the court and buried a three, which was a huge shot. But that's one of those shots where you're looking at it going, hey, if Derek Jones Jr. is hitting that shot, what are you going to do?
Yeah, it was crazy when Dallas was trying to make that run. Shea was still hitting everything. I mean,
he's so
he
good.
was just so silky, and it's a different spot on the floor every time. And it's like they're gonna keep hitting crazy shots, but he's not gonna allow them to close the gap. But it's too much.
There's so much to be excited about with the Thunder moving forward. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. I think Shea in this series proved that he's a top 5 player. I think anyone that had any doubt about that, he showed some people what he's made of in a couple of these games. He's going to get better. My hope is that he gets a little stronger.
Yeah.
I think some added strength will be extremely beneficial for him. Chet's going to make a big jump between his first and second season. I expect J-Dub to make another jump.
That's the thing, is like, we can't discount where this team is in their growth pattern, there's not a whole lot of teams in the NBA, like the core guys, that are like still ascending. Like these players have not reached their primes. By the time you're aware of most guys and most teams that are on a like championship hunt worthy, most of those guys are in their primes, and we don't have anyone really that's in their prime yet. So
my hope is Sam Presti can do some things in these next 2 years to where we can make an NBA Finals before we got to start paying everyone.
Yeah.
And it's not that they're going to be afraid to pay everyone. They're going to pay J-Dub and Chet. I mean, they just are. But it'd be awfully helpful to fill some of the holes in the roster when those guys are still on their rookie contracts.
It'd be awesome if we got something like accomplished before we got to that road. I'd rather not go through that again.
Same. But that's the thing. Like, I kept seeing, the Thunder ahead of schedule, great season, and I agree with both of those things. But the West is going to be loaded, man.
Oh, yeah.
Loaded. And you're
always ahead of schedule until suddenly you're not ahead of schedule anymore.
Right.
And the window's closing.
And the Thunder were really healthy this year.
Yeah.
Had the 1 seed, had home court advantage. It feels like just the beginning for this core. It absolutely does. But my hope is we're not looking back 5 years from now going, maybe we should have made a move at the trade deadline.
I know.
Well, I guess we did. Gordon Hayward, and boy, did he have some quotes in the exit interviews. What is that guy watching?
That. What did he say? I did not see any of that.
He didn't have much of a role, didn't really get many opportunities. And everyone, it was awkward. Yeah. It was one of those, hey, I'm not coming back here type of exit interviews. And meanwhile, it was just such a contrast between what Shea and J-Dub and Chet and all these guys were saying, talking about the team, talking about how close the team is, all this stuff. And Gordon said great things about the organization, but about his role specifically, it's just like, I didn't get many opportunities. And everyone, it was like, yeah, you did. And Daignault stuck with you for too long, buddy.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Let me ask you this. Mavs, as they move forward this season, what do you think?
I think they're going to go to the finals.
Really?
Yeah. I like Luka and Kyrie. We're recording during the Nuggets game. I'm expecting the Nuggets to win that one. Who knows?
Right.
Yeah, that series has been impossible to figure out.
Oh, I know.
But
both teams have totally looked dead different periods.
I just think you combine, like, they've got 2 bigs that are extremely active. The role players. PJ Washington doesn't shoot the ball well in the Western Conference Finals. I'm going to be so pissed, man. I'm going to be furious. But I think they got what it takes to go to the finals. I really do. Yeah. If Luka can just keep it under control, he got off the tracks a little bit in Game 6. If he can be as focused as he was Game 5, I think they're more than capable. I don't think Minnesota or Denver are invincible right now at all.
Yeah. Well,
would you rather them lose? Because I'm kind of torn. If you lose to the team that goes to the finals, you feel a little better about yourself. But I don't want Mavs fans to feel that satisfaction.
I don't know. I guess I have to see how it plays out and watch that series and see what I think of the matchup. And like if because you feel like you let the series get away against Dallas, right? And if we reload it and play another series, like there's a really good chance that series ends differently. And I don't say we win 8 out of 10, like whatever, but I think there's a solid chance that that series ends differently. So I guess whenever you feel like you can beat that team already as we sit today, maybe it's not going to be easy, but it's definitely possible. Then maybe you do want them to advance and make you feel like you're even closer. But I understand the point. It's like, don't even hand them that confidence.
Just a reminder, they didn't have Maxi Kleba either.
I know.
And he's their small ball guy that allows them to play a little differently at times. Came into Oklahoma City and beat him twice.
That's it.
That's Ted. This is the
We
part of
was sleepwalking
FGTV.
in game 2, man. That was the thing. The blowout, just handed it to him in game 1. It's like,
We
cruise
were
control,
so
baby.
confident. Oh my
I know it.
gosh.
I know it.
We were so confident. And congrats to the Mavs. This is the part where I tell you how I watched game 6. Watched the first half at the house.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Locked in, feeling great. At halftime, drove to the Zach Bryan concert at Paycom.
Mm-hmm.
Watched the entire, got there, didn't miss a second of the game. Watched the entire second half on my phone. He had, I think it was one or two, like his third song is when the game ended. I am just screaming watching my phone. Complete disregard for anyone around me. And there's a lot of people in the crowd that were watching the game. I mean, there were people barking when J-Dub was making play. It was an interesting scene.
That's cool.
But fantastic show. I was an emotional wreck. Just did not take the loss well, okay? And
I can imagine.
So it was such a dramatic ending and such a painful way for the game to end on the foul. It was just, I was not well, but I'm a big Zach Bryan fan. And I went to the concert the night before with Lane, and Lane got pulled up on the stage for Revival. Awesome. It was great.
Oh,
Had a great time. But went again, took a different group on Saturday and put on a really good show, kind of had helped me deal with the loss. And then Revival happened. And he brought Pistol Pete onto the stage.
Oh, no.
All-time bad sports. You talk about just a crushing blow. Like I had just started to feel a little better. His performance had taken some of the sting of the loss off. And then that big, goofy, giant-headed cowboy on the stage. It's like someone spit in my mouth. That's how it felt. And then I started thinking about us losing to them in Stillwater in the last Bedlam, and they've got bragging rights, and they stormed the field, and I was just like, I was in a glass case of sports emotion is what I was. It was bad. I was not well.
Oh my gosh. Was there
Shambles.
like a
Shambles is the best way to describe my mood at the time.
Even though you were at a live concert, was there a collective groan that went through the crowd as the clock ticked to 0 in the game?
It was more like audible screaming. No.
I can imagine the guys up there on stage were like, what is happening out there right now?
I don't know if they had any idea. I thought they weren't going to come out until the game ended. I was like, maybe he's a Thunder guy. He's an Oklahoma guy.
Yeah.
Maybe he's a Thunder guy. Maybe he's watching the game. I don't know, but no.
Oh, man.
It's just a bad sports night.
Brutal.
Squad gets eliminated, and then stupid cowboy mascot. Gosh dang it.
Hey, there's always next year.
Yeah.
That's where we are.
That's where we are. But hey, still very, very optimistic about where the franchise is heading. Very optimistic, but it hurts. I'm in pain. It's fine. It's fine.
This is like the standard timeline. This is the timeline. You win the 1 seed was a little bit off, like that kind of changed the thoughts of the timeline a little bit, but they're on the right path. This is how it goes.
Maybe them losing is just what, and that's something all these guys said in their exit interviews, except for Gordon Hayward. They all mentioned like, hey, we don't want to feel this feeling again. And, I'm
Gotta have
going
a
to do
little taste of that failure, man. That's
and Giddey, man, go watch Giddey's exit press conference. Oh, man. I know, hey, man, you got to hit shots, but the guy was in pain. Like it was one of those where you walked away from, you're like, damn. I don't know if it's going to be in Oklahoma City, but I'm rooting for that guy because you could tell he talked about like the ups and downs and like the dark place. He's like, some days I didn't want to get out of bed. It was pretty intense and pretty. So I think everyone was pretty mad at Giddey for not playing well in the series, and then we all heard that and we were like, oh damn, man, okay,
yeah.
we love you, man. Please learn to shoot, but we love you. Let's stop talking about this. Let's winners and losers. But first, go read the read, Ted.
Oh, you grill masters,
God,
listen up.
oh, the Mavs. Come on.
Didier Ranch delivers premium quality beef that is 100% raised in Oklahoma right to your front door. Go to DidierRanch.com, DIDIER ranch.com to order one of their premium quality beef boxes. Use promo code Oklahoma15 for 15% off your order. Filet, ribeye, New York strips, sirloin, steak burgers. They've got it all, and they ship anywhere in the continental U.S., and Oklahomans get deliveries in just 1 to 2 days. The only thing better than having a lot of premium beef on the O&D line is having premium beef delivered right to your front door. Didier Ranch. Tradition tastes better.
And head to the garage for hand smashed patties, butter toasted buns, and ice cold beer. The Bison Burger there, dude. Oof, strong. So strong. It's a perfect spot to watch any big game. And with all the garage locations open to 10 p.m. or later every night, it's the go-to late night spot. Visit eatatthegarage.com to find a location near you and order online from the garage in your neighborhood. As always, Ted, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the weekend?
Got to go with OU softball getting the regional win. Now,
that I needed that. Ladies, thank you. On Sunday, I
yes.
needed it. I was still, well, I was hungover is what I was because I drank away my sorrows. But I was laying on my couch. I was like, I really need them to beat Oregon. Please.
And it was
Thank
tight.
you, TRE Jennings. Thank you.
It was tight. It was a good tight game. And I don't know, as we sit here, if the Florida State Auburn game is, they've got the winner of that, right? And I think Florida State had a lead. I don't know if that's over yet or not, but most likely that's probably who they're going to end up seeing in the super regional. Things are lined up good for them. Pitching looked good. Defense has been excellent, and they got the hits whenever they need it, and they continue to march on.
Florida State currently up 10-3 on Auburn, bottom of the sixth. So, yes, I feel confident saying a little rematch.
Lonnie Alameda coming to Norman. And there's some good regionals or super regionals out there. Texas and Texas A&M is going to be a good one. Tennessee, Bama, Florida State, Baylor, Oklahoma State's got Arizona. So there's going to be some good stuff, and it'll be cool. Like I like where they're at. I know it was shaky at moments for the fan base because we're used to something a little bit different, but I feel like this team's gaining confidence and in a good spot.
The most encouraging thing I thought in the regional was the pitching.
Mm-hmm.
Thought Kelly Maxwell was really good. Thought Nicole May was really good. So
you can take that back to the Big 12 tournament too.
Right. If you can get, if you've got two arms, if you can put two different people in the circle that you feel really, really good about, and you feel like they're hot, feel like they've got really good control of their stuff, which that's how it felt to me watching them. I just feel better about the pitching than I did 2 weeks ago. It seems like they found a groove in the circle a little bit. I feel
better about everything than I did 2 weeks ago.
That's a good point.
Not that I felt horrible about it. And honestly, I think that, every championship path is different. And it kind of felt from the very beginning that it was going to be a different one for this team. And I happen to really like where they are right now. I think, not being the #1 overall seed, not winning the Big 12 in the regular season. Like some of those things, whenever you look at it, you say that that's a disadvantage compared to other years. Well, this is a different team. And I happen to believe that they need something to be chasing instead of being the chased. And I think it's all, lining up for something that could be really, really fun to watch.
I'm with you. Also, really helps when Jada Coleman just seems to get on base every single time.
Yep.
That's a good way to start things off.
Speed kills.
Certainly does. Excited for the Super Regional. We are efforting to get Coach Gasso on before the Super Regional.
Yes.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. All right, who do you have as your loser of the weekend?
All the Bryson DeChambeau fans out there, are there any in existence? Do those people exist?
I think they do. It's okay. Tell me if you
won today somehow.
You know why I like him, and I've never even going back to when he wore the stupid hat. Like I still, the hat was a bad decision, and I really think the stupid hat is one of the reasons it took. Like people just liked making fun of the guy, and then he did the bulking up thing, and he looks great now. He's playing really good golf. You want to know why I like him? He made that putt on 18, and it was a massive putt. And he celebrates exactly the way I celebrate when I make a putt I don't think I'm going to make. It's like he shows emotion, like he acts like a normal person out on the golf course. And meanwhile, Schauffele hits a putt to win his first major, and it's like nothing even happened. He's just like, yay. And I like DeChambeau's fist pumping it, like, let's go. I can relate to that.
Which, by the way, what a putt. What a second shot that he hit to set up that whole birdie on 18 to win it. It was fun to watch that coming down the stretch because you had a bunch of different guys. Hovland was right there. I don't know what happened to Morikawa. It just could not make a birdie at all. Just couldn't roll anything in. But it's crazy. What did DeChambeau go out and made 7 birdies? And didn't win it. I mean, that's crazy to play around like that. But that was fun one, man. That was fun golf down the stretch.
We have to talk about Scottie Scheffler, right?
Yes.
The golf tournament, it turned out to be great.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the scores were. I don't mind watching a major like that every once in a while, where guys are just
blowing it up. Yeah.
Just tearing the golf course apart.
It's like more like a horse race a little bit, like you're watching guys come screaming up the board instead of falling back.
Yeah. Which is, there's, if that's what they want the PGA Championship to be, we'll get that like and then on the polar end, you've got the US Open.
Yeah. Unacceptable if that was the US Open.
Yeah. Unacceptable.
We all agree with that.
Yes. But what a just nightmare for Valhalla on Friday. My wife woke me up, and she knows to never wake me up. Because if I'm sleeping, it's like, not a great sleeper. If I'm sleeping, please leave me alone. And she was like, you got to see this. Scottie Scheffler got arrested. I was like, I do not believe you. Like, there's no way that's true. Yeah, there's no way. And then, what? How does that happen?
Well, crazy circumstances, and it just should have been so different on so many levels. But I guess to me, like the first thing is there has to be like the main tournament organizer. And the first thing they have to do is say, what about how are we going to get the golfers in? Right? I mean, instantly. But
your first item of business should be, hey guys, let's make sure there's no fatalities going into the course.
Well,
which tragic situation, horrible. But that's kind of from what I understand, that's why those certain cops were there. Like everyone seemed like they were really on edge.
Yes. Yeah. Because you don't know what has happened. I'm sure that people that are just getting there, you don't know like what has gone down or what the situation is. That's what I'm saying. It's like, it was almost like the perfect chaotic moment for that, all of that timing, situation, location, all of the above. I still think he should have showed up in the orange jumpsuit to play his round.
The fact that, and there's a lot of people going after the cop, like we really don't know. There's no body cam footage. Don't really know exactly what went down. But how much of a psycho do you have to be to go out and shoot 66 after that happens? That was
I thought
insane.
he's gonna. I thought it's like it's over. He's gonna win the tournament. But I'm sure that they're after like in the mix of it. I'm sure it's almost like it's almost like it's the distraction helps you go out and play well and not like mentally focus on your game too much. But then I guess after it's over is whenever all of the like the distraction sets in, right? I mean, having to explain and talk about it and everything else becomes a distraction for you, I guess.
Anything else from the tournament? It's good to see Hovland playing good golf again.
I know.
Wish he would have made the putt on 18.
Yeah,
I'm sure he's disappointed he didn't roll that one in, and then
he's fun to watch though. I really like watching. Easy to
went back to the old swing coach, and was just, dude, he was striping the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So that was positive. I was glad to see. Did you see that interview where he was like, "Yeah, I almost didn't." He's like, "I almost just didn't show up."
No, I
like,
didn't.
That's how bad. He said he almost withdrew from the tournament, like almost just because he did not feel good about his game. And then guy goes out there, what, he ended up 18 under? Like,
feels good about it now.
Yeah, had a chance to be 20. Yeah, he's probably feeling better. I'm sure he's glad he stayed in the tournament and played it.
Yeah, that was crazy. Fun tournament. I did, and I'm not a DeChambeau fan, but I did kind of like, let's see a little playoff. Let's see what we got here. But I'm glad it went the way it did. That was cool to see.
Congrats to Xander Schauffele. Now everyone can't call you a choker anymore. That's good.
Good for him.
Yeah. And who knows? Who knows what it does to propel
once you break
him
through.
Yeah, once you break through, you never know.
Yep.
All right, let's finish up with my winner and loser. But first, attention business owners, you need Insurica in your life. Insurica is one of the country's largest insurance brokers with 30 offices throughout Oklahoma, Texas, and the Southwest. Insurica is able to customize programs by accessing the latest information from many insurance carriers. They compare and contrast coverage offerings and pricing and design a cost-effective, comprehensive program to meet your business's specific needs. If your business partners with Insurica, you'll save huge amounts of money and take back control of your total cost of risk. If your business wants to be best in class, connect with Insurica at Insurica.com. That's INSURICA.com.
And head to OpulusClothing.com for our podcast merchandise and the best OU gear out there. That's OPOLIS Clothing.com. Use promo code TED, TED, for 10% off. That's OpulusClothing.com. Use promo code TED for 10% off. Buttery soft and 10% off.
My winner of the weekend, the Indiana Pacers.
Ooh.
Headed to the Eastern Conference Finals, where I expect them to just get throttled by the Celtics. But Game 7, Madison Square Garden, early looked like that place was breathing fire, and they dismantled the Knicks.
Did not see that coming.
And the Knicks are, let's be real, they're being held together by duct tape and bubblegum.
Yeah,
they got everyone was hurt. I was physically uncomfortable watching OG Anunoby's 5 minutes in that game. He looked like he was in so much pain running around. Credit to that guy for even getting out there. That was some tough man stuff, but that dude was hurting. it was clear Josh Hart wasn't the same guy with whatever he was dealing with the ab. And then just the cherry on top of the injury Sunday, Jalen Brunson breaks his hand.
Brutal.
It just wasn't meant to be for the Knicks. And all the injuries aside, I'm not sure they could have been completely healthy. They could have had Bogdanovich. They could have had Mitchell Robinson. The Pacers just couldn't miss a shot.
Yeah.
The shot making from them was insane. 67% from the field, 54% from three. Dude, they couldn't miss, and that building was stunned.
Yep. Yep. That was there's nothing worse to have all of that build up, all the Knicks fans, like, this place is back, it's hot, it's the place to be. It's the biggest ticket in town and the biggest ticket in a long time. And they lay an egg, and a lot of it's not their fault, the injury stuff, but that's the worst way for it to happen.
And all the starters for the Pacers just played at a really high level.
Yeah.
Tyrese Halliburton, I think he maybe saw some of the criticisms of him disappearing in a couple games this series.
He
was
listened
great
to the pod whenever you called it out.
Yeah. You can't be an all NBA type guy and disappear. And to his credit, in game 7, he was great. What, he hit 6 threes? And he was talking. He was letting them know. But what an awesome performance by the Pacers. Very disappointing way for the season end for the Knicks. Like, I wanted a game 7 in Oklahoma City so bad, man. Even if I had to go through the pain of them losing it, I just wanted to experience it. It would have been crazy.
I know it.
PJ Washington, why? I'll take Boston in 5. Not maybe 6, probably 5. I think Boston's 5. In a different class.
Yep. Different category. Yeah, I'm with you.
Last thing on that game. 5. Did you see Tyrese Halliburton's Reggie Miller choking hoodie? Just trolling Knicks fans. It just insult to injury, wearing it in the postgame press conference. 10 out of 10, no notes. Way to go, Tyrese Halliburton. Sports are the best. There's no better hate than sports hate.
That's brutal in a good way. Brutal in a good way.
No doubt.
Sign me up to see that one next year if it gets into the playoffs.
I am with you. My loser of the weekend. Any business that expects productivity on July 19th. If you're a business and you're expected, if you need to get something done on July 19th, you are SOL, my friends, because it's official, Ted. We have a date. EA Sports NCAA Football 25 will drop on July 19th. That's a Friday. I honestly believe there's gonna be a lot of people to take that Friday off to play that video game. It is. So especially if you're a company that has employees that work from home a lot, check
in on them on Friday.
Yeah. Make sure they get everything done by Thursday that week. There's just no way a lot of people are getting stuff done if they're working from home when that game drops. But hey, it feels real now to me. We've got the cover, we've got the date. They put out the hype reel, the hype video for it. We're getting the game, man. I finally can say, okay, yes, it's happening.
Are you going old school? You got to go get the actual physical copy of it.
I got to find out. I don't know if we have a video game system. We may have to buy what is it? What's it up to? PS5?
PS5.
I haven't played a video game, and it's not because I'm anti-video game. I love video games. They're fantastic. I don't play a lot of them. Yeah, I assume we'll have to get a video game system. I've got 2 boys.
At some point. That's kind of how it was for me. No video games until my son was old enough to start playing video games, and I started playing again.
Okay. Well,
I had to whip his ass at Madden to show him what's up.
Hey, let him know. I brought you into this world.
I'm going to do the same one like, for me, this is cool because my son is, not huge into sports, but whenever I got him introduced to Madden, he all of a sudden came alive and watching the NFL, and he's got favorite players and all of that stuff. So I imagine it'll be the same thing whenever he can get on a video game and play with University of Oklahoma. He's going to think that's the craziest thing ever.
Are you on the game? Do you know? Is there like an OU Legends team?
No idea.
Okay.
I wouldn't think so. Well, there may be. I'm not saying that there's not, but I was never contacted by anyone. So like there may have been guys that were. So okay. I don't know. And maybe whenever because I know they did one way back. I think it was maybe the last year, maybe it's 2013 or 14. They did that, and they did call me, and maybe I signed away all my rights at that point, and they don't need to call me anymore. I don't know.
That they're like, no, we already have it. We've got it in writing. We're good here. But the hype reel, the hype video is really good. Oh, you made it in there, guys jumping up, running out of the tunnel, hitting the sign. Thought that looked really good. Have you seen how angry Ohio State fans are about the hype video? So
disrespected.
Donovan Edwards stiff arms a Buckeye to the ground in it. And then it immediately cuts to Kyle McCord playing quarterback for Syracuse. And then there's also, did you know Illinois and Ohio State play for a trophy? Were you aware of that?
I think I was, but I don't.
It feels like every Big Ten game has a trophy, right?
Yes, they all, it's, yeah.
So in the video, I guess Illinois players are holding up the trophy they give out to the winner of Illinois, Ohio State. And I didn't know this, but Illinois has not beaten Ohio State since 2008.
Oh, wow.
So beautiful. Ohio State fans, I guess, were feeling personally attacked. And I don't know if it's real or not, but someone like pulled up one of the main creative directors for the game's LinkedIn page, Michigan grad.
I was about to say, like, it doesn't take very much for some bias to show up in stuff like that really easily. That's awesome.
Biggest lie in the hype video, the trailer. Bevo like snorting and snuffing. Those
Not
people haven't been around that
quiet
cow.
In the corner.
Yeah. The cow doesn't do anything. Just walks super slow, poops all over the field. That's all it does.
It takes 2 hours to get it from one end zone to the other.
Bevo brings no intensity. It went after that Georgia Bulldog one time, and now has this, like, it gave him street cred. That cow's boring as hell.
That's funny. Beautiful.
Cover. Travis Hunter, Quinn Ewers, Donovan Edwards. Hunter's a really, really good player.
Yeah, he is.
Ewers is solid. Kid. Ewers is solid. Edwards he's got some big time moments over these last couple of years, but seeing those three guys on the cover kind of made me come to the realization that there's really no face of college football this year.
It's an interesting year. It really is. It really is. Yeah. It's crazy, right? I mean, whenever you really look at things, and there's going to be some good teams. Georgia's going to be really good. I mean, I think there's a chance that Ohio State is really good, but I mean, I don't know. I'm very curious to see what Will Howard looks like in their system. I mean, he can make some great throws. There's no doubt. It's just not who you would think of for Ohio State's system. Outside of that, I think there's like 10 teams that are just all kind of right there. So we'll see.
Yeah, just interesting. Last thing on the video game. Like I mentioned, I'm not a frequent video game player. I don't think I felt older than reading about the different options when it comes to purchasing this game. Ted, when did video games get this complicated? It used to be simple. You buy the game, you get the game, you play the game.
Mm-hmm.
There's these pre-order options, like the MVP bundle. You can so you get it and Madden, and you get it like 3 days early. But I was reading, it's got this stuff like legendary XP boost.
Yeah.
Choice of 2 strategy items. Like, what does this stuff mean? This means nothing to me. And I felt very old looking at these bullet points. I was like, I don't know what any of this stuff means.
You've just been introduced to the in-game purchase era.
Oh no. I don't like the sound of that
Yeah.
for you. That sounds bad
Oh,
for
yeah.
you.
It's yeah, you instead I mean you can it's all set up for them to make a lot of money after the fact. It's not just you make money on everyone buying the video game. You make a lot of money after the fact, buying upgrades in the up. You got the upgraded jerseys and you got the upgraded players and yeah, it's, I'm no expert in it, but there's a whole lot of that going on.
Like one of the pre-order options, it wasn't the MVP bundle, it was the next level down, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Heisman Hopeful Ultimate Team Pack.
You can either get the Heisman Hopeful Ultimate Team Pack for $9.99, or you can go through 500 hours of like.
But what's the difference between
building.
what's the difference between the Heisman Hopeful Ultimate Team Pack and the Alma Mater Ultimate Team Pack?
I don't know. I think those are, from what I've gathered with Madden, I think that's just like you can get these. In Madden, it's all of the same player, like a bunch of the same like Hall of Fame, like legendary players, but you get almost like different versions of those guys, if that makes sense.
Can you turn, now I've got questions. Can you turn the in-game purchases? Can you turn those off for your kids?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Well, you can, I think you can turn them off, or you can have them like password protected.
Okay. I just thought, hey, you get the game, you play with your squad, you're happy. I didn't know it was so complicated these days.
Yeah, used to that game would cost you $60. Go pick it up once, $60, your work here's done. Now it costs you $60 up front and then like $10 a month for eternity. At least.
What a business model. Maybe we should get
Great.
into video games, dude. Sounds great.
It's great. It's great.
I felt 100 years old looking at those. I was like, I don't know what any of this means. I haven't played a video game in a long time. Unless you count
It's all
Golden
about
Tee
the
at a bar.
upgrade, man. It is all about acquiring points and diamonds or jewels or crystal rocks or gold or whatever the currency is in that game to go buy the upgrades. Or of course you can always get these, they always have great deals where you can get like 500 in this short period of time for only $9.99. It's usually $13.99, but today they're running a special. You better get them.
Oh wow. I don't like how this is in my future, and I don't like it.
You don't like you can go play straight up, and I think you'll be okay.
Okay. That made me feel better. Thanks, man. Birthday shout outs. Happy 8th birthday to Piper Thomas.
Happy 55th birthday to Karen Binda.
Happy 69th birthday to Tyler Flowers, aka T Flow, aka T Bomb.
Beautiful.
T-bomb.
Happy graduation to Kale Bible.
Happy graduation, Kale. Congrats, man. On that note, episode 423 in the books. We'll have a new podcast that'll drop on Wednesday. Just a reminder, please subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Tell all your friends to subscribe as well. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you want to see our faces while we do the podcast, which I don't know. If I think people like watching it on YouTube. I don't know.
Of course they do.
Yeah. Well, have a great start to your week. And until next time, we appreciate y'all for listening. Do what you always do, Oklahoma. Take care of each other.